guys, I wanted to go over where we are with some of these builds. I get a lot of messages, hey, where's this bike at? What are you doing with this bike? Yada, yada, yada. So there's one I was gonna kind of keep a secret, but I may as well just show you guys what's going on. We'll start with all the bikes my personal bikes and kind of the builds that I'm doing. Yamaha Zuma pre-bug, that bike is just turnkey go. I don't really have to do anything to that bike. I did, it's a really big job here. Plate flew off, stuck on a new one. We got these in stock now because they always fly off. Black and white are all that they come in. So nothing with that bike. Eventually I want to change the handlebars out just because they're kind of, I like a different style, a little bit taller, a little bit more curved in, but as far as that goes, that's just a bike that just works. So the Grom, I'm doing a crank in it. I'm doing a 5-speed. It needs a new clutch because somebody wrote it and kept starting off second gear. Wasn't me, but somebody else. So needs a clutch, crank, 5-speed, and then it runs fine, but it's really noisy. That's something with the timing chain and the tensioner. So I got a better setup from HRP. So thank you. So I have all that stuff sitting around. I have a bigger disc rotor as well, because that one is a better rotor, a floating one, because that one has really worked. So that's where that bike stands. Runs fine. Just again, not really a priority as far as getting that thing dialed right now, because the weather is not super great. It's not really my go-to bike. The Dio, which I've had forever, is back together. Last we rode it on the dyno like a year ago. We were doing a bunch of dyno testing, and I thought the crank blew up. So we pulled the motor apart, and we took the motor apart, checked it out, and it actually was just the flywheel key sheared. So just need to change a key out in that, and that guy is good to go. That has a Tillotson carb on it, which we were doing, man, I don't know, 3 years ago we were doing those things. Don't do them anymore, but that thing still has it. I've never had to clean it, never had to mess with it. It's really cool, works great. So the twin 140 is back together, runs good. The one thing I noticed last time I rode it, and I don't know if you can tell here in the video, but the throttle cable, let's see here, has a really bad fray in it somewhere. You can hear it, it's crunchy. But anyways, it's got a fray in it, and it's about to break, right there. So I just need to change the throttle cable, but with that, it's making custom cables every time. Got to solder the ends and all that stuff, cut it down to size. So it's a little bit of work, but I don't know why it's doing that, but new throttle cable, and then it's overfueling. I've got a big Mikuni pump on it. I think it's a dual pump, and it's pumping too much fuel, so it floods out at idle, and then runs fine, but when you sit, it'll flood out and spill over. So needs a pump, needs a cable. Very simple stuff. But again, I've got all winter to get that thing dialed. Not in a super pinch to do that. So when I'm doing all these builds, I'm also doing the online stuff, packages, and all the other joys of being a business owner. They're not really joys, but so this stuff can only kind of fit in when I have the time to do it. And one that a lot of people are asking about is a Gilera. So a couple things I didn't know on this bike is they're restricted. They have restricted CDIs. I think it's 9,000 RPM or something like that. And this bike doesn't even make power till 10.5 and up. So I needed a CDI, so I bought one, Malossi CDI, and then we did ferry to ferry and was riding good, breaking it in, 32 to 1, everything great. And then climbing some hills, it just felt like it was loading up real bad. So at one point I had to push this thing up a hill after we went across a bridge, and was loading up super bad. So pushed up a hill, which is not fun, the bike is heavy, and just kept loading up, getting worse and worse. And I said, okay, well, I'll pull over and change the plug. So I pull over in the gas station, went to change the plug, put a new plug in there, and it was just soaking wet, no compression. So this is a PM tuning cylinder, which PM tuning sucks, by the way. Their cylinders have the most amount of potential, but they're horrible Nicosil. They're just, as far as the company, the carbon didn't fit right. They don't care. Like, I would not recommend using them for a single product. They're a horrible company to deal with. They do not care about customer service. They don't care about making things right. All the tabs on my carbon fiber on this bike were all molded backwards. So again, this stuff's not cheap, but all the tabs are facing one way, and they're all all made the wrong way. They were backwards. So it fits barely. It's not right. I had to drill holes in it and screw it. It's silly, but they don't care to make it right. So anyways, I sent the cylinder was the pin, something happened with the pin, like the pin came out, the ringland locating pin, I guess I would call it, that keeps your ring from spinning around. It came out or it pushed in, I can't really tell, and the ring spun around, caught the exhaust lip, and actually dug the aluminum out on the exhaust port so bad it lost compression, wouldn't start. I don't know how it was even running, but they had to actually take the cylinder and I had to send it out. They had to re-weld and fill in certain areas, and then I had to take the cylinder, ship it out, and have it all reshaped and have it reshaped. So they weld it, then they go through and they hone it or bore it out to the original spec. Then it has to go to somebody else to reshape the cylinder, and then it has to go back to get plated, and then back to me. So if I didn't have Al Harpin, I think that's how you pronounce his name, hook me up with that work, I would be about $800 into just the repair on the cylinder. PM Tuning charges a buttload from their cylinders to begin with, and the Nicosil is horrible. So buying the cylinder, sending it to Alfio to port, because he's the 180 guy, and then paying for the repair, I'm about $1,600 into the cylinder. So that's why this bike is down. I was basically at a point where I either just buy a new cylinder, Melosi, and pop it on, but then it's a total waste that I put into the other one. So I chose to repair it. It sucks, it's a bummer, it really blows, but it's being reshaped now, probably being sent back within probably next week, and then it'll go get plated and come back again. So looking back, I probably would have just done the MHR cylinder, because MHR cylinder with the pipe, just bolt on and go, would be probably over 100 miles an hour, just that way, but I chose to go, obviously, the far spectrum of things. So that's where that bike sits. I've got some new CVT parts. The CVT was way off when I first tuned it, but once that comes back, it should be good to go. And then I also sent out, I bought a Melosi cylinder as a spare backup, just in case something happens to that PM, I can just toss it. But again, don't buy from PM Tuning. If you're gonna build a bike like this, which I don't suppose many people here in the USA are, don't buy from them, because their parts suck. I've got so much money wrapped up into the little things that, for instance, the cylinder, anyways, it sucks. That's the moral of the story. So what I plan on doing, hopefully today, if I have time, is start on assembling this 200. So this motor came to me about a year ago, and then a good buddy who was gonna help me do some motor mount stuff had it for a bit, and anyways, long story, but now it's back in my hands, the chassis that it's going in. So this is a Too Fast 100s ported by MVS, cases are ported. So basically the process with this motor was talk to the company that makes the center block here, right? Talk with them, tell them the plans on what I want to do and what I want to build. And so what they do is I pay for it, and then they put Too Fast. I spoke with Too Fast as well, communicated with them. Too Fast sent the cylinders to a shop in Italy, Catena Miano, who makes the center block. They assemble everything together 100%, and then what they do is they ship it to me. Now they don't send it assembled ready to run, obviously. It's just bolted together to keep everything from, keep everything from breaking, banging against each other, just to keep it safe and solid. So that all came apart. The cases got ported top to bottom, and then now it was put together for mock-up. So now I think what I'm going to do today, hopefully, is get the cranks in the center section. I can kind of make a video on how that goes. I don't foresee many people doing it, and I'll answer this right here and now. To do a motor like this, you have to remember you've got 2 intakes, 2 carbs, 2 sets of reeds, theoretically 2 cranks, full CVT, a crazy expensive $700 ignition. And you've got 2 pipes and all this stuff. You cannot use your stock stuff. You can't use Jog 90 cases. If you use stock Zuma cases, you'd be crazy, or stock Piaggio cases, you'd be crazy, because you're just, it wouldn't make any sense. So you want to use the RC1 cases. I get a lot of emails. How much is it? Can I piece it together? Could you make me a full list of every product on this engine? No, I can't, because it would take probably an entire day. To do this setup, there's guys that are making around 60 to 75 wheel horse, somewhere in there on the 200. So that's what I'm aiming for. I would honestly be happy even to get 60 wheel horse, and that seems pretty feasible. So it's gonna be on race fuel and everything, tuned and dialed, but it's got a ways to go, obviously. So I'm gonna try to get this put in here today, and then now I'm probably gonna get judged for this, but I don't really care. So the chassis it's going in is this.
Busy with your wife.
What? What? Busy with my wife?
Yeah.
What are you doing right now? You want to hang out?
Why should I tell you?
No, I don't care what you're doing. I just want to know if you want to hang out. Your mom was asking if you wanted to come with us.
I don't know. But your wife was still here with my supervisor?
What? How can that be? You guys are in Nangapur, India. She's right here next to me.
Fucking your mother and your whole family, you asshole.
All right, so you may ask, why did I choose a Grom frame? Why is it not going in a scooter? So first off, a brand new Grom frame is about 140 bucks shipped to your door. So it's not titled, of course, but it's really, really cheap. Second, I wanted a bike that I sat over and didn't have a little floorboard to sit on, because this thing is going to be straight sketchy. I don't want to be sitting like I'm on a stool when I have this thing dialed and ready to go. So this section here is probably going to get a radiator. What I have on it now is just a 10-inch monkey wheel, super basic. Some low legs and whatnot. I've got the clip-ons and everything in another box. Factory gas tank, so it's not going to use a pump. We're going to have a gravity feed, so we're going to cap it off and then tap the bottom with a valve. So gravity feed, got rear sets and all that stuff. So we have the seat, we got the wheel here. So what we're doing, or what I'm doing on this bike, is of course we've got the RC1 twin. I took a Piaggio Typhoon hub, turned it down, and tapped it for that wheel. And the reason being, I'd like to run disc, but you can't run any good size, or I shouldn't say you can't run any, but that slick is really light, the light wheel. You can't fit a disc in there, so I'm going drum in the back. So that's why I took a drum hub, machined it down, and tapped it for that wheel. So Grom frame is light, the whole entire bike, body panels and everything, hardware, I'm probably into that thing, you know. So aside from the motor part of it, the fuel tank, clip-ons, all that stuff, probably 800 bucks, 900 bucks for all that stuff. So stronger. I'm gonna cut all the unnecessary stuff off the top. We've had it mocked up and it actually looks pretty good all together. So it's also pretty light. I'd say this whole thing, by the time I get the motor in, it may weigh 125 pounds or so. But it's just a better design for something like that, in my opinion. At least you have a legit front end setup rather than a tree in a scooter. So that's what's going on there with that guy. I'm waiting on bearings and seals because I didn't want to use the ones I originally got to put it together. Just because you take them apart, put them back in, I wanted to have new ones. So that's on the chopping block today. Waiting for my CNC plasma cutting table to come in to start cutting some brackets and braces. We've got the TIG welder set up, so I'm gonna practice a little bit on that guy as well. So it's getting close. I ordered a few more parts for this guy, but yeah, so that's the progress. That's a 200. That's gonna be a winter build. You guys saw the Gilera. That thing hopefully be maybe like another month out until I get that thing dialed. The drag bike, what we're gonna do with that guy, and I haven't made a video on that, but that thing is wicked fast. It's a 70cc. Again, you guys have seen it before, but you hit the throttle and this thing will just lay a stripe all the way down the street. So we won Barber with that one as far as the drag racing goes. So that bike, I think we're gonna take the motor out, give it to a buddy who's gonna put it in a spree, and he's just gonna drive around racing people, I guess. This just for him to use the Scooterswapshop bike. So he's gonna drive around just drag racing people. So that should be fun. Probably get some good videos out of that. So thanks for watching. Just did that video to show you guys kind of where we're at with some of these builds. So my main priority is the Gilera and the twin. So this stuff, these two bikes that's a couple hours worth of work for those two guys. So stay tuned and you'll see more footage come up. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day. Well, good morning.
Tires inside.
Oh, what? Dude, look at smoking. Look at it.
Oh my god.
That's never come off.
Dude.